must understand that the real flex, the real success is not how much money you make, but how much money you can make that covers your bills without physically working. Because you need to understand your body has an expiry date. Your mind has an expiry date. I am 49 years old in March. I came to America in the year 2000. I've been here 25 years. I have put some mileage on my body. I started working as a nursing assistant. I used to have 4 jobs working 24 hours. I knew that the income I make from those jobs, the only way I can guarantee that I continue to guarantee my lifestyle till I die is if I use that income as a seed and not as a fruit. If I plant it in situations that multiplies the money, so that way I can get money out of the returns of that money, and the money keeps multiplying. That is how the rich get richer. That is how the wise think. That is how people who want to build generational wealth think. That is how people who understand how America works think. I feel blessed today. What an awesome day to be alive. Or maybe I don't feel so blessed after all. You know, I just finished watching a video by a YouTuber called Ari Gutman. Ari is actually a dividend investor, and he interviews on his podcast a lot of different dividend investors. And he was interviewing on this episode a young lady from Cameroon, 33 years old, who lives in Maryland. And this girl has been able to pay off $120,000 in debt in 2 years, come out of 32,000 of a scam project, and build a portfolio of over $500,000 by diligently investing, cutting down on her expenses, sacrificing her money, and building this net worth. Immediately I finished listening to that podcast, I scrolled further down and I got to Dr. Boyce Watkins channel. And I saw something that intrigued me, and that's why I'm doing this video today. And I want you to just stay with me. I want to give you some context so that it makes sense what I'm going to say going forward. And if you look on your screen right now, the picture you see is a picture of an artist. He's a rap artist, 25-year-old guy out of Louisiana. He's called NBA Youngboy. And he is... his net worth is estimated between 25 to 60 million. But that is not the deal. Great guy, he's done the stuff, he's doing his talent. He's using his gift and he's making a difference and making some money for himself. But if you see, there's a comment there by a young lady called Alicia Davis. Alicia, based on her picture, number one, she looks like she's black. Number two, she looks like a young lady, relatively young, right? She looks probably in her 20s, 30s. And her comment is, my rent is currently past due because I bought some floor seats to the NBA Youngboy concert. Now they are trying to evict me and my kids. Can all my Facebook friends cash in $1 each to help sort me out? Guys, listen. And I have 7,000 Facebook friends. So Alicia basically has 7,000 Facebook friends. She spent for a floor ticket, which basically is a VIP ticket for concerts in arenas. I did a research on NBA Youngboy's concerts, and the average floor ticket is $900. So these are the things that really concern me about this. Number one, Alicia spends $900 to attend a concert of a multi-millionaire rap artist. Now she doesn't only spend $900, but that $900 is costing her rent. And at this point, she is actually going to be evicted by her landlord if she doesn't pay her rent because it is past due. And now she's inviting her 7,000 social media friends to come to her rescue. And if each of them can give $1, that is going to help sort her out of that decision, out of that bad problem. The first thing is that your stupid decision cannot be an emergency for me. Guys, we need to understand how these things work. You know, as Black people, we've taken so much for granted, and that is why we are behind on a lot of things in America, in the land of opportunity, in the land of great abundance. We are behind. The statistics tell me that, right? Of course, this is some Black wealth statistics, which you most likely know, right? The Black wealth is $5.4 trillion. That is only 3.4% of total wealth in America, right? The median household net worth of black people in America is 44,100. The black buying power, the black economy, their buying power in 2025 is $1.98 trillion. And by 2030, they are projecting it to be $2.5 to $3 trillion. 44% of black people own homes, right? But think about it this way. This young lady, Alicia Davis, and this is not unique only to her, a lot of people face this challenge. And I want to speak to those people right now. Or if you know somebody like that, I want you to pass this message, share this video with them. There is no way a bad decision by a young lady like this, or a young man, or anybody should be an emergency for you. It doesn't matter who that person is. She is buying a $900 VIP ticket to go watch a high-profile celebrity rapper. So she is taking her small, meager $900, which should help her to pay her rents. And she's going to give it to this person who is already a millionaire, who has 22,000 other people in that arena watching him. That's one. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to entertain yourself, but there has to be a process to get to the funds you use to entertain yourself. That is where there is a problem with Alicia's process. There is a problem because she is spending money that she doesn't have to go entertain and impress people that don't care about her. To have pictures that she can go put on Instagram, to have images that she can go flaunt as if she's living a big life. She attended front row seats, floor seats, VIP section in the concert for NBA Youngblood. Meanwhile, your landlord is kicking you out. A lot of people are living in this deceitful pretense, in this shadowy life where it is more important to project themselves as something that they are not in order to create a false impression. You know the real flex, the truth? Nobody really cares, honestly. People worry more about their own life, their own challenges, their own way they see themselves and how others see them. They don't care about how you see them. That is the truth. They don't care how much you are trying to make them see you. Another thing you need to understand in this decision, right? There are a few things that I want to go down to the fundamentals, because it's easy to just look at these things superficially and without really having a diagnosis of the fundamentals, you will not be able to solve it. You will not be able to get yourself out of this situation if you are kind of this person. Yes, I don't know all the details of it, but I'm just looking at it from what I see and judging also from hundreds of different clients that I coach, that I help set them up to open brokerage accounts, to align their finances, to streamline their expenses so they can get ahead with their lives in America. And this is not a very uncommon trend. It's not very uncommon to see a lot of people spending above their pay grade, to see a lot of people investing their hard-earned money in frivolities. And in this case, let's talk about the mindset that leads people to situations like this. Number one, trying to hit above your pay grade, trying to hit above your means, trying to spend money you don't have. Number two, there is this unbearable, strong desire to project yourself in a certain image that you truly are not. We are living in a time today when, because of social media proliferation, which is good, social media is not necessarily a bad thing. I describe social media as water. Water can be used as a healing concoction for medications and healing syrups to treat illnesses, or it can be used to mix poison and kill people. It's a choice, right? If you consume water in the right quantities, you stay healthy. You consume too much of it, you are going to have problems with your health. Same thing, right? Social media today has made many people to believe that what is more important is what people think about you and not what you really are. I want that to sink in. That is one of the strong reasons I believe people can get into a situation where they go spend $900 on a ticket like Alicia, and they are crying now for people to help them because they are going to be kicked out of their home because they cannot pay rent. Another thing, which is even more important, is the willingness to sacrifice your living condition for a temporary pleasure. Mortgage, rent is one of the most important expenses everybody has at the end of the month, because that is what secures a roof above your head. Do you know what it takes for somebody to be willing to sacrifice their rent for temporary pleasure, a 1-2 hour concert? It means that person has a complete upside down thinking of his or her priorities. That person doesn't really have a clear prioritization of their life, of their money, of their resources, to the point where they prefer to make that leap They prefer to have that temporary dopamine hit of a 2-hour concert where you are looking like you are the boss. Meanwhile, you are the servant. Meanwhile, you are the slave. Meanwhile, you are the person who is going to be kicked out of an apartment and you're not going to have rent paid because you use your rent money to go watch a millionaire who doesn't even need your money, who doesn't even care for your money, who doesn't even care for you as a person, right? Hey guys, in addition to all the valuable information I bring to you every week on my videos and my short videos on different platforms, especially here on YouTube, I also have a community of over 2,000 like-minded, serious and driven people who, like you, are receiving exclusively this time a newsletter once a week. And this information in the newsletter is unique and it only goes to those people who are part of the newsletter community. So if you are interested in getting this once a week update, which includes different tips, different ideas on how to build yourself, how to generate wealth, how to make money, how to build a legacy, go ahead and click down in the link in the description and you'll be able to join our newsletter community. And when you join that community, you would realize exactly how much value that brings to you on a weekly and daily basis. Let's get back to regular programming. The fourth thing, it's the unconscious programming to spend on frivolities. This is just one example of frivolous spending that is very, very present, especially in immigrant and Black communities, right? For some reason, I think a lot of the history of Black people, a lot of our history pushed us to always have that innate desire to want to project ourselves that we're better than that we are better than we truly really are at that time in our life. Let me tell you something I learned in this life, especially interacting with very successful people. To be able to achieve a certain level of success financially and impact wise, it takes a certain mindset, a certain amount of sacrifice, and a certain amount of focus on the things that matter, to the point where when you get to that level of success, even your system, your lifestyle has become used to the known desire to want to impress. And so they tend to generally be simple. They tend to generally be easygoing. They tend to generally be people who spend money on things that are most important. If you go read the book The Millionaire Next Door, where this guy they did a research on everyday millionaires in America for over 20 years, the numbers and the findings are very interesting. The millionaires in this country are people you know who are next door to you, but they don't seem like they are millionaires. I was even reading a story too, a statistic the other day from New York Times, which was talking about the different careers that have produced the most millionaires. One of the careers was engineering. Another one was, physicians and things like that. Business processing, accounting, I think. But let me tell you the career that shocked me the most. Teaching. The teaching industry, the career of teaching has produced a lot of millionaires. And I wasn't surprised though when I started thinking about it, because teachers are very structured people. They're very organized people. Teachers generally are very careful with their money. They don't spend like regular people do. They are very frugal. Teachers generally don't get involved in frivolities. That is why they can be able to save money, invest, and build wealth over time. So the willingness to sacrifice present, future values for present enjoyment, for a temporary flex, that is one of the killers. That is one of the reasons why you will see a lot of people like Alicia. For Alicia's case, it might be a concert. For other people, it might just be a car that you cannot afford. For a lot of people, it's a house. Do you know? Yes, I own a home. And just for clarity's sake, it's not like I own a house. This is the third house I'm owning in my life in America. Actually, the fourth house I'm owning in my life in America. My first two homes, I foreclosed on them. And then I've bought two homes now. I live in one, and the other one I sold it a few years ago. Let me tell you something. Owning a home is not a flex, and it's not a path to wealth like it used to be sold. And that I've done a lot of videos on that. You can check in my on my channel, and you'll see a video on that. I did quite a few videos. So there are a lot of people who own homes they cannot afford just to be looked upon as successful, because part of the really misconceived conception of success in America is that you own a home. So a lot of people own homes they cannot afford. Some own more home than they really need. An average family in America is a man, a woman, two children. Average home size is 2,800 square feet, somewhere there, 2,500 to 2,800. Why would two adults and two children need 2,500 square feet to live in? These are the things I am talking about. These are the mindsets, behaviors, and attitudes that continue to put communities like our Black communities in the whole continue to put us behind in every aspect of world building. In fact, recently I also learned something interesting that the network of Black families are projected to be zero or negative by 2036 because of number one, consumer debt. We are slow to adopt AI and recent technologies. Also, 95% of all Black businesses are one-person businesses and gross under 20K a year, which is below the poverty line. We need to understand these things, guys. That's why when I saw this, I said, you know what, Gustav, you got to make a video on this. You got to talk about this stuff because these are important things. There will be some other young people looking at Alicia and thinking that's a flex. I can do that. I still have time. I have years ahead of me. You don't. You will end up broke, destitute, sick, and old. You know, I talk a lot in my videos about the three deadly devils. One is getting old. That most of us cannot control, right? As the days go by, you get older. The second one is getting sick. You can fight that for a while. You can try to stay healthy, eat healthy, do all the right things, exercise, take care of your mental health, take care of your physical health. That's good. It will put you in a great shape as you get older. But at a certain point in your life, you will start feeling some pain. You will have some ailments. It's normal, right? Those two are really within your control to a certain extent, but you don't have total control over aging because you get old. Getting sick, you can control it, but at some point, you might not be able to control it, right? But getting broke, that's directly in your control. So these three devils, imagine that you are old, you are sick, and you're broke. That combination is deadly. You are finished. You are finished, right? So when I see mindsets like this, especially as a legacy coach, especially as a person who helps first, second generation immigrants be able to tap into their purpose, be able to invest on the stock market to build significant wealth and bequeath a lasting legacy of generational wealth to generations to come, I need to step up and talk about this because I hope that this helps somebody. This gives somebody reason to rethink if they're about to make a frivolous expense. And the way I qualify frivolous expense is simple. You must understand that you go out there and you see other people, just like Alicia saw people going to the concert, but you don't know how other people afford their tickets in the VIP section. A lot of the people you're sitting there in the VIP section, these are people who bought their tickets from result, from growth and dividends from their investments. So they are not using their seed. But a lot of us Black people, when we earn money, we take that money and we start spending. So you have really taken the seed and eaten the seed as a fruit. So you are not putting the seed in a situation to multiply for the future. That is the problem for most people. They spend their income. The rich people don't spend income. They spend dividends, interest, and growth from their investments. So what that means is the investment is still invested and continues to grow, and you take some of the growth from the investment and spend. So to visualize it this way, so your income comes in, instead of spending, you put that income in an investment vehicle like an S&P 500 fund, on the stock market or some cash flowing investment. And then from that investment, you can get money coming out of that investment and you can spend that on pleasure like going to a concert. You can spend that on buying yourself some nice things. You can spend that on buying the car of your dream as long as that income that is coming from your investments can finance that. You must understand that the real flex, the real success is not how much money you make, but how much money you can make that covers your bills without physically working. I want you to understand. Once you understand that mindset, trust me, your life will be changed forever. You will never make expenses like this because you need to understand your body has an expiry date. Your mind has an expiry date. I am 49 years old in March. I came to America in the year 2000. I've been here 25 years. I have put some mileage on my body. I started working as a nursing assistant. I've worked as a nurse. I used to have 4 jobs working 24 hours. I've put some mileage on my body. The way I feel today is not the same way I feel 10 years ago when I used to do doubles. 15 years ago when I was 30, 33 years old, 30 years old when I used to do double shifts of 16 hours. I cannot even try anything like that anymore. I worked in the IT industry for 12 years. And by the time I got fired from my last job 3 years ago and I decided I'm never going to work for nobody else, I was already getting bored. I was already getting frustrated because I knew that there was more in me. I knew that my value was not $160,000 a year that I was getting paid. I was worth more than that. But most importantly, I knew that the income I make from those jobs, the only way I can guarantee that I continue to guarantee my lifestyle till I die is if I use that income as a seed and not as a fruit. If I plant it in situations that multiplies the money, so that way I can get resources, I can get money out of the returns of that money, and the money keeps multiplying. That is how the rich get richer. That is how the wise think. That is how people who want to build generational wealth think. That is how people who understand how America works think. That is why I want to encourage you, if by the way you don't have any understanding of how to get started with investing on the stock market, with building a life of meaning, there is a link down in the description section of this video. Feel free to click on that link. Book a one-on-one call with me for a very small fee. Let's talk. I'll be able to open your mind to possibilities. And then from there, we will be able to build a very customized plan for you. And that plan is going to help get you started, get you on the path. Even if you already started, but you're not clear about what to invest in, what to buy, how to organize your finances, how to position your assets so that way they can give you the maximum growth. Go ahead. Let's have a one-on-one conversation. I will save you a lot of money and I will make a lot of money for you. It's a promise because I've done it for hundreds of other clients that I've worked with. And I know I can do that for you as a coach, right? So the whole long and tall of this story today, the reason why I came to you today to talk to you is to give you some tips on how to avoid these pitfalls, right? The very important last thing I want to talk about that will lead to situations like this is the importance to unwire the subconscious programming that America pushes forward every day, which is the programming of consumerism, getting into consumer debt, buying things with credit cards that you pay 20-25% on that money. There is nothing that destroys your wealth in America like buying on credit, especially credit cards. Don't get me wrong, debt is not a bad thing. There is good debt and there is bad debt. And if you check in my, you check on my videos, you'll find another video I did on good debt and bad debt. But you need to know what is the good debt and what is bad debt. You need to understand the concept of leverage. You need to understand how money works. You see, a lot of us, especially black people, immigrants, we come to America, we rush to go to school, we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars borrowed to have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. We leave, we come out, we start working for $160,000, $70,000 a year, trying to live, and then we make sure we don't get fired. We make sure we impress our bosses. We come to work on time, leave on time, but we don't want to sacrifice to understand how to make that money work for us. You have to understand that if there is anything else you missed in this video, I want you to hear what I'm going to tell you now. Remember this, keep it in your mind. Money will make more money on money than on labor. Your money will make more money invested than it will ever make invested on labor. So whatever work you're doing, even if you are a high earner, I know friends who are medical doctors, physicians, lawyers, accountants, and entrepreneurs, they make $500,000 and more. Some of them still struggle. Some of them are not able to show much for 10 years of making $5 million. You know why? Because a lot of the money they made was used as a fruit. Some of it was invested in frivolous investments. I have a friend of mine, somebody came and told him, well, we are opening a restaurant somewhere in an airport and in a mall, and it's going to be a breakfast restaurant, blah, 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 blah. And they're selling 1% of the restaurant for $50,000. I think he bought like 4 or 5% of that restaurant. I said, bro, you're buying that thing. Do you know the business model? Have you done some research on breakfast restaurants? Do you know that 1 out of 2 restaurants close within the first 9 months? So the chances of that business ever working is very slim. And even if it works, what is the return on that business? I don't know. Are you sure you couldn't have that return, half of that return on the stock market with investing on an S&P 500 for eliminating 100% of the risk? That is how you got to think about money. You cannot just act based on how we feel. You know, as Black people, we are very emotional. We have this extreme desire to always want to project ourselves like we are better than we truly, really are. Nobody cares. The only barometer of your success is the sleep you have at night. Are you having a good sleep at night? Do you go to bed at night, wake up in the morning, and you feel rested? Or you go to bed at night, by the time you wake up in the morning, you are more tired than you went to bed? Because you'll be thinking of the debts you owe, the bills you have to pay. I leave you with that challenge. It's for you to think about it, right? So if this is your first time on my channel, thank you for tuning in. Go ahead and click the subscription key. Share this video with anybody who it would resonate with. I hope to see you at the top. And for sure, look down in the description section, click on the link, book a one-on-one appointment with me for a very small fee. Let's have a conversation. I will help you. I am going to help you. I am going to give you a chance to really start building significant wealth. Let me tell you, the successful people in America, the people who build wealth are not the hardest working people, but are the hardest and the smartest working people. Yes, there is a point you have to work hard to generate the income, but what you do with that income is even more important than how hard you work for that income. And that is where people like me come in, to give you, to share with you some ideas, especially from my own experiences. I made those mistakes many years ago. I have accounts where I lost $80,000, $90,000. I've made frivolous, stupid mistakes. And if I can cut your mistake propensity, I would have saved you a lot. So anyways, I'll see you on the next video. Until the next time, be well, be blessed, and by all means, never stop being a blessing to somebody. Bye for now.